Hey guys, so I just want to make a video real quick about what the Perkins operation is because sometimes I forget that some people don't watch or don't follow the case as much as other people do, and they don't know what the Perkins operation is, so I'm just going to explain it. This is what AI overview says. It says, a Perkins operation is a law enforcement tactic where an undercover officer or informant is placed in a jail cell with the suspect to elicit incriminating statements. Named after the U.S. Supreme Court case Illinois versus Perkins, the Supreme Court ruled that such confessions are voluntary and admissible in court because the suspect is unaware they are speaking to law enforcement and the Miranda warnings are not required in this police dominated atmosphere. These operations are often used for serious crimes and involve the undercover agent engaging the target in conversation to obtain information about their criminal activity. How a Perkins operation works. Placement: an undercover or agent is placed in a jail cell with the suspect. Conversation: the agent engages the suspect in conversation about their case, often posing as a fellow inmate. Information gathering: the agent tries to get the suspect to make incriminating statements which can be recorded. Legal basis: the Supreme Court, in Illinois versus Perkins, determined that statements made to an undercover agent in a jail setting are voluntary because the suspect does not know they are speaking to law enforcement. So, why is the Perkins operation important in the Haro case? The reason why it's important because if you guys did not know, Brian Enton from News Nation, when this story first came out about the Haros, Brian Enton came out and said that he had sources saying that there was a Perkins operation done on Jake and Rebecca. Now, the district attorney during the press conference for baby Emmanuel, the only one they had, mind you, denied this allegation. He said it did not happen. This was not true. Now, it recently just came out, right, in court documents that they filed, which is sealed, which is understandable because Rebecca is still pleading not guilty. So they cannot tell the information as of yet because this is still a case for Rebecca. Jake admitted guilt. He pleaded guilty to the court. There was a court filing and it said that there was a Perkins operation discovery. And Garrett Haro, a news reporter, reported that he spoke to the DA's office and the Perkins operation was in fact true. Which I feel bad for Brian Enton because during the press conference, it almost seemed like they made Brian Enton look bad. Brian Enton doubled down on this source and he said, I doubled down on this. This is true. This is what my source told me, and my source told me this information, and I believe it to be true. Jake Haro initially told investigators that he rolled over baby Emmanuel and buried him in that spot by the freeway. The investigators believe that this was a lie, so then they did a Perkins operation and he admitted to this is where he confessed to rolling over on baby Emmanuel and putting him in the trash in his house. Okay? So I just want to clarify that, which comes out that it was indeed true, right? So in this confession, they put an undercover inmate with Jake and with Rebecca. And in this confession with Jake, he said that he rolled over baby Emmanuel and that he put baby Emmanuel in the house trash. So if this is true, baby Emmanuel, his remains could be in the landfill. Now they did the same thing for Rebecca. Rebecca doubled down on the Ola story. There was no new information when it came to Rebecca. She said that somebody took her baby. This was the information that Brian Anton gave out. This was the information that his source told him. And of course, the district attorney was gonna deny this because if you guys watched, like I said in the other video, if you guys watched 60 Days In, it used to be a show, I believe it was on A&E. Let me double check. 60 Days In is from A&E, and they put about 7 participants, civilians, or I don't know what each person had different occupations. Sometimes they're professional, like they're officers or, you know, or doctors or a regular civilian. They would go in jail and pose as an inmate. They would pose as an inmate and, they wanted to see what it's like to be an inmate. And at some points, they gathered information from other inmates and they would tell this on TV what they discovered. Now, it makes sense to me that district attorney, he did not confirm whether or not the Perkins operation was real, because then you would jeopardize the people that are doing the case. I don't know how long they did it for, but it would jeopardize the operation, right? It would put this person in jeopardy, because if you were found out to be a rat in jail or prison, you're done. You're done. You could be in a lot of danger in there. You're with criminals. There are some things that criminals get away with in jail or prison. So it's a very, very dangerous thing. Now, it's considered voluntary. This is a voluntary confession because they're under the impression that this person they're talking to is just another inmate. So, whether or not Jake lied about his confession, which I believe he lied about his confession, I don't believe it to be true. If this is what he actually said, there's a recording, I believe. The court filing that they put on Jake and Rebecca's, I believe it to be a recording, but I'm not sure, okay? So, in my honest opinion, Jake lied about his confession because this guy is capable of abusing children. He chooses the weak. He is a coward. He chooses children that can't fight back, children that can't talk, children that can't tell on him. I believe that's why he chooses his victims. Now, as far as his children, I don't know how Mackenzie, the 2-year-old, was not taken by CPS because he broke probation in 2024. How was Mackenzie not taken by CPS? It doesn't make sense. How is he still able to have 2 children after he had promised Faith and after they found out what he did to promise Faith? So, now that you guys know what the Perkins operation is and what details that Brian Enton reported on this, I hope you have a better understanding of what the Perkins operation is, and you gotta wonder what was actually on that filing, because we will find out after Rebecca either tells the truth, pleads guilty, or after her trial. During her trial, this will come out because now it's evidence, right? So we will find out.